Welcome back, and I hope that this finds you well. So this is going to be part 2 of Everything is Meaningless. I did a first part, if you haven't watched that yet, which is I'm going through the book of Ecclesiastes chapter by chapter, and I'm basically just highlighting the verses that stand out to me and what I can take from them and apply that to you guys. And I said this in the last one, that the book of Ecclesiastes is one of my favorite books in the Bible because there's just so many new perspectives, and it really opens your eyes to what truly matters in life. And it gives us wisdom on how God wants us to approach our own lives and how we make decisions, view things, so on and so forth, right, in our own lives, and how we put Him first. A little bit more on a backstory on why I decided to do this. Over the last few months, God has really taught me a lot in my own life, in my own circumstances, and the things that drive me nuts, and the things that I overthink about, the things that I worry about. And he's really put into perspective on how I need to view those things and look at life for the bigger picture as to what it actually is. And that's what I love about Ecclesiastes, that it tells us how to do just that. Got my Bible here. So as I said, this is going to be part 2. That means this is going to be the second half, so chapters 7 through 12. Chapters 1 through 6 was in the first video. So starting off in chapter 7, we got verses 1 through 3, and it says, "A good name is better than fine perfume, and the day of death better than the day of birth. It is better to go to a house of mourning than go to a house of feasting, for death is the destiny of everyone. The living should take this to heart. Frustration is better than laughter because a sad face is good for the heart." And a note I wrote down is that bad times and hard events are necessary to build up our character and to align our eyes and heart on what actually matters, and it builds our gratitude. Take a moment to step back and realize that God knew that the good and the bad were going to happen in your own life, and they are there for very, very specific purposes. And if we never experienced hardships, if we never experienced tough things, we wouldn't have a built-up character with maturity and morals and so on and so forth. Going down to 7:5, it says, "It is better to heed the rebuke of a wise person than to listen to the song of fools." It's not good to be supported with lies that are only going to hurt you in the long run. That is what foolish people do. They seek validation from things to distract themselves from the truth. Painful truth is better than joyful, pleasurable lies. Going down to 7:8, it says, "The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride." It's better to be patient because you don't know what is going to happen. You don't know how God's going to turn something around in your life. Going down to 7:9, it says, "Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools." It's better to be slow to anger, just as God desires. Reading down to 7:11 through 12, it says, "Wisdom like an inheritance is a good thing and benefits those who see the sun. Wisdom is a shelter as money is a shelter, but the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves those who have it." Wisdom is more valuable than anything else money can bring. It's more valuable than any material item you have because it can be passed down to the younger generations and it can lead to flourishing. Going down to 7:14, it says, "When times are good, be happy, but when times are bad, consider this: God has made the one as well as the other." Going back to 7:1 through 3, that both good times and bad are ordained by God, and they all have a purpose. 7:20, "There's no one righteous." That's a summary. That's just another reminder. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Romans 3:23. And 7:21 through 22 says, "Do not pay attention to every word people say, or you may hear your servant cursing you. For you know in your heart that many times you yourself have cursed others." This is just a warning that I believe we need to understand, that people are going to hurt us no matter what in this life. People are sinful, broken humans, just like ourselves. So we need to not take things personally, but also be cautious, because people are bound to hurt us. Now we're going on to chapter 8, and a summary of 8:1 that I wrote down is that wisdom brightens the face because wisdom corrects the heart and understanding. It's good to have wisdom in your heart to allow it to change the way you view things, to change your life. Going down to 8:7, the key part is that it says no one knows the future, so who can tell someone else what is to come? You don't know what's going to happen, so don't try to boast about tomorrow and brag about what you're planning on doing because you don't know what could occur. Then going down to 8:8, it says no one has power over the wind to contain it, so no one has power over the time of their death. Same thing. You don't know when you're going to die. The days of this life are very, very short. Going down to 8:12 through 13, it says, although a wicked person who commits 100 crimes may live a long time, I know that it will go better with those who fear God, who are reverent before him. Yet because the wicked do not fear God, it will not go well with them, and their days will not lengthen like a shadow. And then going down to 14, it says, there is something else meaningless that occurs on earth. The righteous who get what the wicked deserve, and the wicked who get what the righteous deserve. Do not fret when evil people succeed in their ways, in their plans, when they get things and it seems unfair, because in the end, God has the final say. Fear God, and we will win life. All right, now going on to chapter 9. And 9:1 says, so I reflected on all this and concluded that the righteous and the wise and what they do are in God's hands, but no one knows whether love or hate awaits them. Similar thing. Good and bad will happen. You don't know what is going to happen. You are not entitled to have a perfect life. You don't know what will happen because of human free will. You don't know what God has in store for your life. But the message is that through it all, stick by the Lord's side. Going down to 9:3, it says, this is the evil than everything that happens under the sun. The same destiny overtakes all. The hearts of people, moreover, are full of evil, and there is madness in their hearts while they live. Another verse to just remind you that, hey, people are naturally evil in this world. People who do not have Christ in their hearts are evil. Be aware, because they are going to come after you, intentionally or unintentionally, but stick by the Lord, because evil is bound to happen. And also, don't expect good from anyone, because the human heart is naturally evil. After that, going down to 9:4, the key in that verse is it says, anyone who is among the living has hope. Anyone who is still alive and breathing has a hope of salvation. Keep on praying for them. So going on to 9:12, it says, moreover, no one knows when their hour will come. As fish are caught in a cruel net, or birds are taken in a snare, so people are trapped by evil times that fall upon them. Another reminder that you don't know when your time is coming. You could die today, tomorrow, next week, next month, you don't know. And to finish off chapter 9 is 17 through 18, and it says, the quiet words of the wise are more to be heeded than the shout of a ruler of fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. It's better to be quiet and wise than to be loud and foolish. When you look around the world around us today, oftentimes the people who are the loudest, the people who are seeking attention the most, are the people who are actually they're not smart. They're not as smart as other people, because they need that external validation. They need that external attention. They need to showboat their folly to the world. That's not the right way to live, according to this passage. Going on to chapter 10, I'm going to start off in 10:2, and I like to use this verse as a little joke when you bring up politics. And it says, the heart of the wise inclines to the right, but the heart of the fool to the left. Interesting. Going on to 10:4, it says, if a ruler's anger rises against you, do not leave your post. Calmness can lay great offenses to rest. The person who remains calm ultimately wins the argument, right? It's better to stand confident in your side and your belief if you're in the truth, and than to let anger take over and ruin your position, because oftentimes getting quick to being angry can show signs of weakness. Going on to 10:12, it says, words from the mouth of the wise are gracious, but fools are consumed by their own lips. The wise are concerned about the well-being of others. They take into caution and consideration the well-being of other people, but fools are selfish and only concerned about themselves. They don't care about hurting other people with their words, saying something dumb. They don't care about sounding disrespectful or sounding inappropriate. They don't care about that, but it's better to be cautious with your words. Be gracious, be kind, be loving in what you say to other people. Next verse is 10:18, and it says, "Through laziness the rafters sag, because of idle hands the house leaks." Pretty self-explanatory. Being lazy leads to problems. The last verse for chapter 10 is 10 verse 20, and it says, "Do not revile the king even in your thoughts, or curse the rich in your bedroom, because a bird in the sky may carry your words, and a bird on the wing may report what you say." Be careful about what you say about other people. Gossip has a way to tend to come and bite you back. Do not gossip. Now going on to chapter 11, I'm going to start in 11:4, and it says, "Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap." There's never ultimately going to be a right time for you to start the plan and the purpose that God has called you to. You have to take a step of faith and just start. That means denying the fear, denying the doubts, and taking that step of faith. 11:5 says, "As you do not know the path of the wind, or how the body is formed in a mother's womb, so you cannot understand the work of God, the maker of all things." If we could fully understand God and everything he does, how he works, he would not be God. And that's a good thing that we don't understand him. That allows us to actually have faith and trust in what he's doing. And that is what he wants from us. Going down to 11:7, it's a short one, and it says, "Light is sweet, and it pleases the eyes to see the sun." And I can just interpret this as, hey, life is short, enjoy the little things. And obviously, I believe this can be taken very literally too. Take a moment to put down the screen, step outside, breathe in fresh air, and get some sunlight, because it's good for your soul. 11:8 says, "However many years anyone may live, let them enjoy them all. But let them remember the days of darkness, for there will be many. Everything to come is meaningless." Another reminder that no matter what happens, ultimately it's going to lead to the same destination. And going down to 11:9, it says, "You who are young, be happy while you are young, and let your heart give you joy in the days of your youth. Follow the ways of your heart in whatever your eyes see, but know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment." God wants us to enjoy our life. God wants us to go after the desires of our heart, but do it in the right way, by putting the Lord first and fearing him. Straying off the path is something that we are going to be held accountable for. Every single action, thought, deed is going to be held accountable. But also don't forget to enjoy your life in the way that God ordained for us. And when we fear God, we naturally will enjoy life in the way that he intended to. He aligns our perspectives correctly, he aligns our desires correctly, and we are able to enjoy life as he intended for us to. To finish off chapter 11 is going to be 11 verse 10, and it says, "So then, banish anxiety from your heart and cast off the troubles of your body, for youth and vigor are meaningless." Anxiety is a great deal with the young people, because we live in a society that tells us all these things. It throws so many different things in our direction and tells us, hey, you need to go this way, that way, do this, do that, so on and so forth. I know I struggle with this, being 19 and having so many things in life that are causing my mind to run rampant, and it seems like every single day there's just something new to worry about, something new that's in my mind trying to make me feel overwhelmed. And it's another reminder to take a step back, cast your cares on the Lord, cast your anxieties on the Lord, because he cares for you, and realize that at the end of the day, all these things that you're worrying about will not matter in soon time to come, because at the end of the day, it is meaningless. Do not waste your youth worrying your life away. I'm speaking to myself as I say that, but it's hard. But that's why the Lord is there, to help us with that, to take our burdens off our shoulders. Cast your cares on the Lord. When anxiety is great within you, go and pray. Now I'm moving on to chapter 12, and I only have a couple references in here that I want to share. And the first one I'm going to share is 12:1, and it says, "Remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come and the years approach you, when you will say, I find no pleasure in them." A lot of people like to say, you're young, enjoy life, go do this, go do that. Get right with God later. But now is the time when you can actually do the most in your walk with God. This is the time to seek God full-heartedly and commit your life to honoring Him in His Word. It sets you up for the greater success down the road in your life. You're not going to be living with regrets. You're not going to be living with burdens if you put the Lord first in your youth, because this is when a lot of people do things that ends up hurting them in the long run. And God doesn't want you to have that happen to you. He doesn't want you to experience unnecessary pain and regret. So please, if you are young, put the Lord first and fear Him and understand what it truly means to honor Him in your life, in word, thought, and deed. The second out of 3 references from chapter 12 I want to read is 9 through 12, and it says, "Not only was the teacher wise, but also imparted knowledge to the people. He pondered and searched out and set in order many proverbs. The teacher searched to find just the right words, and what he wrote was upright and true. The words of the wise are like goads, their collected sayings like firmly embedded nails, given by one shepherd. Be warned, my son, of anything in addition to them. Of making many books there is no end, and much study wearies the body." This is after the headline in the Bible where it says the conclusion of the matter. I'm going to let you take that word as you interpret it. Now, finishing it off in 12:13 through 14, it is the conclusion of the matter, and it says, "Now all has been heard. Here's the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil." Conclusion of the matter is to understand that everything in this life we are going to be held accountable for, and ultimately at the end of the day it's all going to pass away. That sums up the book of Ecclesiastes pretty much. There's a lot to take in. I know this is a long video. If you made it this far, I'm extremely grateful you watched to the end. I know that this could be, some people might find this really boring. I know I didn't try to put as much in this one as I did in part 1. Just simply, I think I put too many verses in there, and that might have put some people to sleep if they were watching that. So I tried to simplify it down for this one. But if you have not read Ecclesiastes for yourself, simply I wanted to make these to encourage you to read it for yourself, because you can often take something away by reading it on your own than just listening to someone like me talk about it. And that's the hope, is to just simply encourage you to go and read on your own. So the conclusion is to fear God, honor Him in your life, take the Lord's words and commandments to heart, and find joy and satisfaction in Him alone, because at the end of the day, everything else will pass away. So once again, if you made it this far to the end, I just want to say God bless you guys. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more to come.